Hello, this is Biblical Tarot, and I'm back with another video. And as you see, I have the Five of Pentacles on the screen. And I also am going to do the not the five, but the Three of Pentacles, because they kind of tie in together. And I'll show you how they tie in together, and they give you a little moral. So a lot of people use this card, and they use this as a husband and wife, and they use it as a card of material trouble. The title of the card excuse me, the title of the card is called the Lord of Material Trouble, or the Power of Material Trouble. So they do look like they're in a lot of trouble. Like, they've lost all their money and they're out in the snowstorm in the cold. There's 5 pentacles in the window of this building. And the fives, I've told you before, is severity. It's the 5th emanation on the tree of life. And it means justice and severity, God's left hand. And so the popular card is worry. The popular meaning of the card is the Lord of Worry. And they say that all they need to do is just go into the church. But my thought about it is, guess what? It's God's left hand. There is no door to that church. Sometimes when you do bad, you have to suffer the consequences. And it sucks to say that, but that's how we learn from folly. That's how we learn from being the fool. We experience things. And I'm going to show you what I found on the man's neck. If you look closely, you see a raccoon image in the man's neck. And when you find these hidden images in the cards, they are to help you understand the meaning of the card better. The author of the deck put hidden images all over the cards. And the hidden images, once you finally are able to recognize the image, sometimes it's staring you right in the face and you just can't recognize it because it's not meant for you to recognize it. But when you do, you look up the symbolisms of the hidden images and it will give you a better idea of the card. So we found a raccoon on this guy. And the symbolism of a raccoon is a disguise, adoption, and secrecy, the ability to adapt to situations in order to achieve goals. It also means you charm people to let you do what you want or to get away with something that you want. Thievery. The animal is known to steal. The animal is also a master of opening doors. So if he's a master at opening doors, why isn't this guy opening the door to the church? That's what I thought. That was a thought in my head. Sometimes the meaning of the raccoon can be dishonest and underhanded, but the person that's doing it doesn't feel that there is anything wrong with it. Also, running away from problems. So I thought that was interesting to find a raccoon on this man because it tells you a lot more about him. And you can tell it's a raccoon. Also, you could see it in a duality that the raccoon does take care of its own too. The coon is very good at taking care of their family. I wanted to show you that to show you Gavora. That is the emanation that this card belongs to. And you see where it's located on the tree of life, God's left hand, Gavora. Now we're going to go to the 3 of Pentacles. This card is like the inside of that building, that the 5, the 2 are out in the 5. And the 3 is Bina, as you see, understanding where it's placed at. It's also on the left side, which is severity, but there's a building in Bina. That's why they are building this church. And as you can tell, those 2 people that were in the 5 are also in the 3. The 2 people that are not on the bench, they're just standing there. Those are the 2 people out in the cold. When they were in the 3, they were building up this church, you see? And you can see the man, the mason man, he's, talking to them about the plans. I think that's where he's building that window at. That's where the window is, in my interpretation. He's building that window that we see in the 5. But something happens, something happens with the 2 people there. They're called the 2 people that were in the 5. There's I read on them what Arthur E. Waite had to say about them. And he said that they were mendicants. That's what he called them, mendicants. And I wanted to share with you what a mendicant meant. A mendicant is a beggar. It's also a religious friar who is a beggar, one who makes a business of begging, a male member of a religious order that originally relied solely on alms. And alms is money or gold or goods contributed to the poor. Alms is charity, a gift, or a house appropriated for the use of the poor. A box for collecting alms, especially one in a church. So these people are destitute. But at one time, they were not destitute. They were building inside the church. But somehow, put outside the church. And Arthur E. Waite, he also gives other meanings to it, of when they got kicked out. So it would be a state of being abandoned in moral principle and in vice, dissoluteness, reprobation, dissolute, indulgence in sensual pleasure, debauchery, degenerate and degraded, looseness of morals and manners, addictedness to sinful pleasures, and dissolute way. Desolate way. So I just wanted to show you guys about that. The difference of it, Bina, the difference of Bina to Gabora and where they're at. Both of those cards. The 3 is beside the ear and the 5 is the left hand. So looking at them together, you see how similar they look. One's inside and one's on the outside. And if you really look, you can see that man is the same man that was inside. He looks just like that man, except for, obviously, he did some bad stuff and got kicked out, him and her. And you know what I was thinking might have happened? They might have been getting together because the nuns, and she looks like a nun. They ain't supposed to be having sexual relations. And I'm thinking that's probably what it was. And they got kicked out. But you didn't hear that from me. This is the last thing I wanted to show you was Proverbs 14:1. Every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. Now, we go back. The wise woman, she was building her house. And this one, she was tearing it down.